Good morning, everybody. It's time for another delicious edition of Texas Oatmeal. We've made a lot of progress on the build. So I'm going to show you guys where I'm at right now. I'm going to do a little bit more working in this video. Let's get right to it. Okay, so you can see behind me that we've got the full door and the little mini driver's door. So what's going on here is I don't really want to fully enclose this thing for a couple of reasons. One, as we all know, these things are really tight. So if I put two doors on it, it gets really claustrophobic really quick. If you just sit in the passenger side of this with the door all the way down, without even, when I had like cardboard on it with the door all the way down, I mean, it's tight on your head. So I didn't want to make a full door on this side, but even then, I really like the quirkiness of having a door that isn't really a full door. I think this look right here from this angle looks really cool. Just to have like essentially a top, but then this side be a full door. And so I've added this piece to it to mirror the top look of that one. I was gonna have this come straight across and then hard down and then hard down. The problem is when I got to that side, I didn't like this as tight as this was against the driver's head the whole time. Because again, once I sat in here, I was like, oh, this already starts to feel pretty close to your head. I mean, it's not like you're gonna hit your head on it or anything, but it just felt weird. The other thing is, with this all said and done in this configuration, when I'm driving around, especially if I'm like leading the group, a lot of times I lean out and turn my head back to see where the group is or who's made the turn or is somebody falling behind, anything like that. So I do that a lot. And if I have a full door on when I'm driving this around, I don't have any way to do that. I cannot lean out of this thing with that door on. It's not like I can roll down the window and look out like you would a normal car. And I wasn't about to make windows that can open, no. And it's Texas, so we don't drive in the super cold that often. So I didn't need a fully enclosed, complete cockpit. I like this look. From this angle, it's gonna obviously look solid on both sides. When we get to here, it's gonna have just a crazy look with just essentially a top. So with that being said, I put two shocks. I put a shock on the front of each, right? And I've got a little mini shock on the back of that one, because this is with the panels. I had panels and stuff just kind of sitting on it, and I went to lift it, and it lifts and it's fine. It does the whole motion without any issues. The problem was when you got it up to a certain spot where you kind of want to let go of it like you would a regular car door, it wouldn't continue to push it up. It would hold it, but it wouldn't push it up any further. So I liked the idea of just grabbing it, getting up here. When you get to a certain point, you let go and it does its own thing and you don't have to touch it anymore. So I gotta pull all this off, grind down a bunch of the welds because they're not pretty. I mean, let's be real. I've got a couple pretty welds on this whole project. Most of them look like crap. I'm no experienced welder. I took a high school class for a semester. Not to reveal my age, but whatever. That's 20-something years ago. So my welds aren't the best, but I have made sure that when I make a weld, it gets through to both pieces and bonds them properly. Every weld that I've made, once I'm done with the weld, let it cool or whatever, and I go to bend on it, it doesn't budge. I've tapped on stuff with hammers, it doesn't budge. So it should be pretty good. It should get me down the road without falling apart. So anyways, moving on. All right, so here's the front end. This is what I've got so far. I've got a couple little things that I think I need to tweak. So when you put a piece on this, and you've got a flat piece that goes up to the next section, I wanted them to overlap here and then here and so on and so forth. But this angle I think is maybe a little much. But I was trying to get some happy medium between the angle that goes up here and the angle that comes down here. The problem is this angle doesn't really do it. It's too high for there and it's too high for here. So I think I'm gonna have to weld some pieces on across here at a different angle to come down to the nose to get the nose, you know, tighter. So at this point, this is the structural part of the frame that I think is good. And now I need to add some tabs and stuff to essentially attach panels to be able to get them to sit flat at the angles that I want them. So we'll see how that goes. There's a little more work to do on the hood, but this was pretty quick. This didn't even take a day to do all this figuring out and framing. It's not quite as crazy as all the top is. So a little more work to do on the hood, welding there. But I want to get the top pulled apart and ground down and painted because, well, I want to feel a sense of accomplishment working on this thing for I don't even know how many days. And I want to feel like I've made some real progress. I mean, I do, but I want to see the progress more than I have been. Okay, so we've disassembled the top and the windshield frame, and I've got them hanging here in the garage to paint. So I've already taken the grinder to them to grind everything down smooth where I want it to be smooth. Some of it's just gonna be raw, or some of it's you're gonna see the welds or whatever, but I don't really care. You know, it's supposed to look like it's, you know, haggard together, so to speak. I don't want it to look totally terrible, but it's okay if you can see some of the welds and some of the mistakes or whatever. So I didn't grind everything down perfectly smooth, but the stuff that needed to be smooth for like where the plexiglass is gonna go against it, that all got super smoothed out and flattened out. So anyways, so I've got that done. I went ahead and put the first coat of primer on the doors and top or whatever, and it's looking good and sticking well. About to spray. I've already cleaned clean the windshield frame, so it's ready to spray. So I'm about to spray it right now. Okay, so I'm at a good point. I'm really waiting on paint to dry on all the pieces. I got the door frame, I got the windshield frame, I actually repainted the roll bars, and the hood frame is all on and painted. And it's kind of curing. I mean, it's been painted for, you know, most of the day or so. It's getting kind of late, but it was good enough, dry enough that I could, you know, mess with it. So I went ahead and put it on. So this will give you an idea of, almost looks like a 90s Camaro shape, almost, from certain angles. Anyways, I'm running a hood scoop because really I didn't actually plan on it, but I don't know if you can tell, but that intake sits just above the metal. So I'm gonna run the Hank style hood scoop on here. That's gonna get painted black, of course, because it's not gonna be silver. That would, I don't know, it might look cool because it's contrasting, but it's gonna be black. So I'm gonna run that hood scoop on there. But while I'm waiting on this to dry so that I can really put it all back together and kind of final assemble it all before I put panels on, I have a little bit of a surprise. Maybe if you follow me on Instagram, you've already kind of seen this, so you already know about it. But for the rest of you that don't follow my Instagram, well, check this out. So what you see here is a super cool toy Gatling gun. It's about 24 inches long or so ish, something like that, and it comes with like this tripod thing or whatever, but we're not gonna use any of that. We're gonna mount this to the hood of the car. Like, this guy's got a triple gun set up going here. That's cool, but that's not what this is. This is just a single version. Anyway, so I'm gonna take this apart and modify it, of course, because we need to modify it. We don't want it to look like a toy. So I'm gonna take it apart and rewire it a little bit and do something cool with it. All right, so we got all this taken apart. We We got like all the lights taken out of it. All these little LED things are in there. This is all the stuff that controls it. We're not gonna need any of this. This is where you'd click the little button to make it fire. The little stickers. It's funny, I think it's funny that they call it a rotary gun toy. So anyways, we're gonna get rid of all of this. We're gonna get rid of all that. This dome thing that was on the end of it. We don't need that. The little LED thing, don't need that. This little gear that made like the bullets go through there, but the bullets are super fake looking. So basically I'm gonna take these components here and put all this back together. Basically it's just got a motor in here that's gonna hook up to this gear, and I'm gonna hook it up, rewire the battery pack and everything, and hook up a little controller, a little remote control to this, so I can power it remotely, duh, and have this mounted like at a car show or something. And when I'm not in the car, just standing around, I can push a little remote and it'll make it all spin from a distance. Get the reaction of some kids and stuff. If they walk up to it, they'll spin or whatever. So that's the idea. I got to reassemble it. I got to wire in my little controller and test it all out and paint it, of course. So got to do that too. All right, so there we go. Got everything put back together. Got the windshield nice and dirty. You know, gonna have to clean that bad boy back off. But yeah, looking good. Everything went back together like it's supposed to. Of course, that was already on there. But this is all working properly. Looking good. So now I've got to skin it, you know, put some of the plexi that's over here. I need to open that up. I need to start laying that on and figuring out, you know, where it's going to go, how long it needs to be, where it needs to be cut, you know, all that fun stuff. So I also got to touch up these. I ran out of paint, but you can see now there's dual guns because, you know, what's better than one gun? Two guns. And so they're going to sit right here off center a little bit. One's going to be back here, one's going to be up here, so that they're different lengths. You know, so I gotta paint the cowl. I got a lot left to do. That being said, that's the end of this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.
You must be blinded by the lights. We came to shine here. Watch it look daytime in the night. We bring the vibes here.